From a controversial level that RobTop hated, to a level that has a $1,000 bounty, these are the most iconic forgotten levels of Geometry Dash. Old Slaughterhouse used to be one of the most famous levels, yet now it's almost never talked about. This level was set in a creepy red environment and was created by level designer Isel Cave. He actually took inspiration from Cyrillic's unfinished level called Death Angel River, and even asked Cyrillic to complete it for him. But Cyrillic declined and allowed him to make something similar instead. And you might actually recognize it because it was super popular back in the day. However, Isel Cave's account got hacked and the level was forever lost. Now, some players managed to save it by copying it as an auto level, and once Isel Cave recovered his account under a different name, he republished it as a non-auto version. Once Isel Cave recovered his account, he made the Slaughterhouse that we all know and love today. And because Isel Cave saw the potential the old Slaughterhouse had, he actually is on his way to publish the upcoming level called Grief, which is essentially an old Slaughterhouse remake and not a sequel to the new Slaughterhouse. One of the most tragic losses in Geometry Dash history was the Extreme Demon level called Ice Carven Titan X by Roadkiller. It was part of a trilogy, with earlier levels being Ice Carven Zust and Ice Carven Diablo X. At first, the community hated these levels because they seemed impossible and were verified using hacks. But when a player named Riot proved they were beatable, the level's popularity absolutely skyrocketed. Later on, Roadkiller released a new level called Ice Carven X, but he deleted it just 3 days later after receiving tons of hate. Some players had downloaded it back then, but by now it's practically lost. Also, only 5% of the level has only ever been shown in videos, meaning that's all that's been recreated today. Some players still hope to restore it, and even YouTuber MattMart has offered a $1,000 bounty for anyone who can find a way to bring it back. When it comes to the most mad level in Geometry Dash, level 1 takes the crown. Created by Lucoraf, an OG creator, it had decent music and visuals, but the gameplay was super simple, just a basic double jump mechanic. It didn't really stand out, and for players, it's just become a forgotten relic only 3 years after its release. The challenge is one of the most secret levels in Geometry Dash. To play it, you had to unlock it through the Vault of Secrets by typing the challenge and paying 200 diamonds. But the problem is that it wasn't really all that interesting. And there was even a bug where typing the secret word wouldn't work, so most players just actually forgot about it. And when a Reddit user made a post asking about the most forgotten level, most players couldn't even remember that the challenge existed, ultimately proving that it is the most forgotten main level in the entire game. Element 111RG is probably the most controversial level in Geometry Dash history. Created by DarkX, this insanely difficult, often called just RG, was one of the hardest at the time to beat. It got a ton of negative feedback because you had to have 17 pixel perfect jumps at 60 FPS to beat it. However, DarkX eventually released a nerfed version with a secret way, but it ended up unrated. After that, he was essentially kicked out of the Element series level creators. The level was even purged by RobTop himself, who had hate towards it and erased it forever. Only parts of the level up to 15% and 100% are known, so nobody really knows what it looked like. The Restoration Union later created a restored version, but it's not an exact copy of the original. The level was also linked to the player, the real Mike, because of a drama involving verification of the nerfed Element 111RG. This controversy included allegations of racism and other related issues. In the end, the level became lost to time and pretty much forgotten. This has to be the hardest level to spell. Cosmo? Wait, Actually, it's in Russian letters, so when translated, it's spelled as Cosmos. And it was created by the Cherry team. But besides being very hard to spell, it's also an extreme demon. However, this level has been updated multiple times, and now there's even a new version called Cosmos Unleashed. Essentially, the old version got forgotten because the new one looks way better visually, and it's also heavily inspired by Slaughterhouse. Gamma is an extreme demon level created by Mindcap and a bunch of other talented creators. It used to be in the top 3 back in the day and held a spot in the top 10 for a very long time. After that, Mindcap released Sigma and Omega, completing the Greek alphabet trilogy. It's funny how these well-designed demonless levels became so forgotten that players mean Greek alphabet trilogy as being easiest to forget. Many players remember when Cobwebs was first showcased, and it actually got some pretty good feedback. However, let's be real, most of us have probably forgotten that it even existed by now. The level was designed to be the hardest, shortest extreme demon, but it never got rated. Plus, since it's so short, people just forgot about it. But honestly, the level is so well made that it feels like it lasts over 30 seconds. RobTop should really rate it. Promises by a Dial always wakes up the nostalgia. I mean, it's a classic. This long forgotten level was a special one for players who tried Geometry Dash World, as it was one of the first featured online levels there. For those who didn't pay for the full Geometry Dash, it was a chance to experience the online levels through Geometry Dash World for free. Sure, I might be broke, but hey, at least I enjoyed it. One of the most unique forgotten levels is the Split by Sir Punch, but any Molpen fan would recognize it instantly. It was back in the OG Molpen era when he played it, and the level stood out for its very cool visual effects and perfect sync with the music. It totally brings back those nostalgic vibes when I used to beat people. When I watched Molpen beating levels. If you're an OG Geometry Dash player, then you probably remember Moon Adventure 2 by Don Don. This level was originally rated as a demon, but then the creator decided to make the map easier so players could get those sweet stars. Surprisingly, this plan worked perfectly because after 7 years, RobTop finally noticed the change and unrated it. Honestly, creators like this deserve some kind of award for giving out free stars. I bet you forgot about the level Spike is Black by Fraud Player. It was one of those old Geometry Dash, there's no footage of the original level anymore, but some players managed to find a demon mix level that included Spike is Black in it, and a player named C14 Endurance created a restored version. Unfortunately, there's no official rating for that level, but by player assumptions, it's an easy demon. This classic level got remade a lot. Isel Cave by Small had several versions, like Isel Cave V2 through V4 and even more. But when Small decided to leave the Geometry Dash community, he wanted to delete all of his levels. However, Isel Cave was way too popular to delete manually, so instead he edited it to make it a free demon. Because of this, RobTop eventually had to just delete it permanently himself, but this level was so influential that it inspired others like Ice Carbon's Dust, Ice Carbon's Diablo X, CC, and more in the series. Even Ice Carbon's Dust was based on it. Luckily, the Restoration Union found old videos of this level and managed to restore it. Tardis was one of the levels that kicked off a whole new era of demonless levels. Back then, everyone thought Tardis was just straight up unbeatable, and it really was. Riot, the creator, even verified it just to get credit. But later on, a player named Dolphy managed to verify by tweaking it a bit and making his own version, which is locked out with a password. Since only a handful of players have beaten it, most players just check it out and move on. Demon List was originally made for levels, but now it feels like levels are being made for the Demon List. Many players have heard about Avernus. It's a level by Pocket Windfish that was hyped for a long time to be the next #1 spot on the Demon List. While it was being created, it switched hosts from Electro to Pocket Windfish and later got handed over to Zoink to buff and verify it. But after all of that work, Avernus only managed to reach #2, which made a lot of players laugh. On top of that, the level lost its identity, turning it to just another overly difficult level that no one could actually beat, and players could only watch. Meanwhile, Tidal Wave was released, stealing all the attention and leaving Avernus forgotten. Phantom by the Real Salad is definitely one of the community's all-time favorite levels. It's set in a creepy ghost-like castle environment, and players love its layout and decoration. The way it syncs perfectly with the music and ambiance really makes it feel like a masterpiece after all. Also, there's even a little boss fight in the level. This has to be the level with the funniest intro sequence of all time. W Cropolis is an old level inspired by the Cropolis series and was known for being the easiest one of the series. But the real meme is its questionable intro.
Who's afraid of the big black?
After that, the music just turns into a full-on rave while you're basically doing almost nothing, making it totally out of sync. Maybe the intro was just a big black cube. Back in the day, Clutter Funk V2 by Neptune was almost lost forever after it got deleted. Players thought it was the hardest level ever. Clutter Funk was already tough, but Clutter Funk V2 cranked up the difficulty even more. There was even a meme going around that only Korean players could beat it, which includes me, since Neptune himself is from Korea. Luckily, the level was saved and restored, so we can still play it today in newer versions of Geometry Dash. This forgotten level was literally stolen. Death Corridor Z by Chaotic Jumper is basically a child of the impossible level Death Corridor. However, Death Corridor Z was made to be possible and it was supposed to be an extreme demon. But to this day, it's still unrated, so everybody just forgot about it. There was also some controversy about a player named Noctalium receiving a version of level for verification, but instead he just stole it. Seems Chaotic needed our help to say,
Swiper, no swiping!
if Spiro by GD Jose was in normal mode, it would have been an extreme demon. It's one of the most nostalgic auto levels in Geometry Dash, and back in the day, it was even considered the best auto level ever. And honestly, the visual effects prove it. However, at the end, it just shows a little emoji, and the music stops. To be honest, that jump scared me. And there you have it, 20 forgotten Geometry Dash levels. Make sure to subscribe and check out the video on screen right now. Bye!